how have you seen that in your experience in terms of if you have these, let's say, deskless employees or so? Um, do you think that there we can do, as communicators, do a better job of bringing people together and making sure that they get the communication, see the vision of the company, and understand how their role impacts the bottom line?
Absolutely. And that's a struggle that all of us face. In my organization, a third of our employees are working in factories or, otherwise without a desk. And it's always a challenge to reach those employees. So a lot of the time, right now we have to rely on the traditional cascading approach through those daily stand-up meetings or, toolbox talks or lunchroom type of things. But we also want to find a way to better meet those employees. Is that on a phone or an app or something like that where employees can access it anytime that they want? So that's something we're looking into. But also, we're using the other traditional things like the electronic monitors in factories and trying to push messages to there. But I think that's a consistent issue that, I face and other communications peers face as well, is trying to get every employee to understand the direction of the company. And in so many companies, you see, a majority of employees don't understand the vision or the direction, no matter what channels we try. So, of course, there's always room for improvement, but it's very
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, absolutely. That's a challenge I think that nearly every communicator faces at some point, right? Um,
Absolutely.
but I mean, speaking of then the Hitachi business, it's to some extent a very technical industry, and it might feel as a bit niche, right? Like, how do you manage to simplify a lot of these complex topics to try and engage that broader audience, right? Do you have some ways that you go about doing that?
Yeah, I think the best way is really trying to make it relatable to the employees. Like just one example, some of the industrial products that we produce are things like, air compressors or coating and marking equipment. And to the average person, even some of the employees, they might wonder, what does this really have to do with me, or why should I care? But then you kind of turn it into, okay, this coating and marking equipment, right? You buy a gallon of milk or a carton of eggs every week, and you always look at the expiration date, right, to know if it's good for you or not. Well, our equipment helps put those expiration dates on there. So it's something like that, or like air compressors, they're hidden in factories usually. But like one fun example is the Bellagio, the fountains. Our compressors are underground to help push up that water and make the beautiful displays. So when you kind of put it into examples that are more relatable to employees, I think it makes it a little more interesting to them and not just like a box in a factory.
Yeah, kind of telling that story, right? It's a different thing showing the Bellagio fountain versus just like, oh, here's a compressor, right? So
Yeah, exactly. That way to
yeah,
make it interesting.
yeah, no, absolutely. Because I mean, I think that's actually the beauty of B2B businesses. It's, you know, these things that we just don't see, and for some we kind of take for granted, right? But they're so important to just our day-to-day lives, right? And a lot of times employees, they aren't told that enough, that that what you do matters.
Exactly. I think you hit another point is just helping them understand their impact and how that helps society, really. And like the other part of the compressor business are portable compressors used on construction sites, as an example. It's like when you see the guy or woman with a jackhammer, it's helping power that. But think about the impact of that. They're helping create the roads or the bridges to get to work or get to the doctor's appointment and things like that. So it's good for society. So when you think beyond the box or beyond the product and the impact on society, I think that's really one way to get employees more engaged and understanding of the impact they are truly having.
Hey, if you're getting value from today's conversation, make sure you subscribe right now so you don't miss any future episodes of the Aspire to Inspire podcast.